Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're looking at some source material that might seem a little basic at first glance. We've got excerpts from an A2 level English resource, the kind focused on daily routines. But and here's the interesting part. We're not actually here to learn these specific English phrases. No, our mission today is more like, well, we're treating this language material like an architectural plan. We want to look past the surface stuff, the coffee, the emails, all that, and really pull out the structural insights. How do these really simple high frequency bits give learners a massive advantage? We're basically hunting for communication tricks, useful phrase patterns that you could apply anywhere, really, learning code, history, even corporate speak. It's about finding those efficiency hacks hidden right there.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how even this, very introductory stuff, it actually models how to structure thoughts. It's like a blueprint for building a narrative. So we'll be dissecting how this material organizes the day, morning, daytime, evening, and looking at the specific linguistic advice it gives for sounding natural, for conversational flow. Sometimes understanding the scaffolding, well, that's more valuable than memorizing the individual bricks.
Right. Okay, let's jump right in then. First up, the morning blueprint. The phrases here are all about chronology, aren't they? They set up a really clear, linear story.
Yeah, the source gives these very sequenced actions. I wake up at 7, I brush my teeth and take a shower. Then I have breakfast, usually coffee and toast, and
Yeah.
I get dressed and go to work. It feels very simple, like just a list.
Yeah.
But you're saying there's more to it. There is. Because the material itself points out, maybe implicitly, that just listing facts sounds kind of flat, disjointed. So the structural trick, the advice it gives, is actually quite direct. Use sequence words to connect the actions. That's key for sounding natural. Those little words turn separate points into a smooth story.
Okay, so which words are we talking about?
Well, the ones highlighted are then, after that, next, and finally. They're like the glue holding the timeline together. They signal what comes next. And they even give a model sentence structure, like, I wake up at 7, then I take a shower and have breakfast. After that, I go to work. See how that flows better?
Oh, okay, I see. It's turning a list into a narrative.
Precisely. And that's the insight for you, the listener. Mastering these simple connectors transforms basic lists into, well, fluent narratives. It's a really powerful basic tool.
And it strikes me that this isn't just for language learners, is it? I mean, think about explaining a process at work or writing up notes.
Absolutely. We often forget these simple connectors when things get complex. You might write an incident report, maybe, or prep a technical update.
Right, and the default is often just bullet points. Did A, did B, did C. Very dry.
Exactly. But if you just weave in these sequence words, the clarity shoots way up. Instead of just, we started phase B after reviewing phase A results, you might say.
Something like we initiated phase A. Following that crucial step, we reviewed the results, and only then did we start phase B. It sounds much clearer, more intentional.
It really does. It shows the relationship between the steps. It signals importance. It's the difference between just static facts and a dynamic timeline people can actually follow easily. So yeah, mastering these basic sequencing words provides huge value, whatever you're communicating. It reduces the mental effort for your audience.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So structure through sequencing. Got it. Now let's move into the daytime activities work or school. This part seems more focused on actions and maybe social bits.
Yeah, the examples are things like, I start work at 9, I answer emails and talk to my coworkers. Sometimes I have meetings, and at noon I have lunch with my friends. Very action-driven.
Right. And if the morning was about sequencing, this daytime section introduces, I think, the second big communication shortcut, using brevity for impact, especially in social moments. The source highlights these short, punchy expressions. They're designed for quick, friendly interactions.
Like what kind of phrases?
Things like, busy day today, time goes so fast, or I need a break. They're very concise.
Okay.
And the function here isn't really about conveying detailed information. It's about conveying mood, maintaining that social connection without needing complex sentences. It's a powerful shortcut.
But wait, wouldn't leaning on such simple phrases kind of undermine trying to build a richer vocabulary? If your goal is mastery, why practice busy day today? That's a really important question. And the answer, I think, is about leverage. In busy settings, maybe high-pressure ones, you often need that quick point of connection before you dive into the complex stuff. You don't just launch into a dense presentation, right? You need that little human moment first.
Okay.
I actually remember this one time I was in a really long, tense meeting. You could feel the stress in the room. And finally, someone just kind of leaned back, sighed, and said, "Man, busy day today." And everyone sort of chuckled. It just broke the tension. It reset the mood. Honestly, in that specific moment, that simple little phrase was probably more valuable than pages of analysis.
Hmm.
These phrases, they're like social tools. They manage the interaction itself. They acknowledge a shared feeling really efficiently.
Okay, I get it now. They save brain power while showing you're engaged and relatable, like conversational grease almost.
Exactly. You don't have to stand there silently just because you haven't worked out the perfect complex sentence yet.
Right. Okay, that's insight number 2, efficient social connection. Let's shift to the evening then, the winding down part. The examples here are things like, I get home around 6, I cook dinner and watch TV, I go to bed around 11. Feels a bit more relaxed.
Yes, and this is where the material brings in the third key structural idea, using adverbs to add flexibility and, well, nuance. If the morning was about fixed sequence, the evening is about variation in habits.
How so?
Well, the source material specifically suggests making the basic statements sound more realistic, more fluent. So instead of just the flat statement, I go to bed around 11, the advice is to add an adverb, like I usually go to bed around 11, or to show it doesn't happen every time. Sometimes I watch a movie before sleeping.
Okay, so adding words like usually or sometimes, why is that specific technique using simple adverbs so important for sounding? Well, more natural or expert. Why not use more complex phrasing?
That's a good point. I think it's because basic statements, like those A2 sentences, often present things as fixed, absolute truths. I do X, period. But real life isn't like that, is it? It's variable. So you need a quick way to show flexibility, maybe hedge a bit, be more honest about habits without getting tangled in really complicated conditional clauses.
Right, without sounding like you're writing an academic paper.
Exactly. Adverbs are the easiest tool for that. They let you add that layer of context or caveat really efficiently. Whether you're talking about your own routine or how often a software bug appears, or maybe the probability of a market trend, slipping in a usually or sometimes or often makes your statement more accurate, more credible. It adds necessary shading without extra baggage.
So sequence words give us the timeline, short phrases handle the quick social connections, and adverbs add the nuance and realism. It's like a whole toolkit built from simple parts.
Precisely. It covers the main structural needs.
Okay, and finally, the source wraps up with what it calls the social toolkit. Those really essential phrases for just everyday chatting. You know the ones. How's it going? Not bad, thanks. That's I'm a bit tired today. Let's grab a coffee and see you later. The material calls them natural, friendly, and easy to remember.
Yeah, and if we analyze their function, these are absolutely crucial. They're the hinges on the doors of conversation, aren't they?
Yeah.
They let you start smoothly, switch topics, or end things politely. They basically manage the interaction's boundaries.
Hmm.
And, we often get caught up chasing really complex vocabulary or perfect grammar, thinking that's the key to fluency. But what this A2 stuff reminds us is that often real functional fluency hinges heavily on just mastering these super common, simple social phrases.
So knowing how to say hello and goodbye confidently is actually a big deal.
It's huge. If you can handle the opening, the how's it going, and the closing, the see you later, without feeling awkward, it lowers your stress level massively. It frees up your mental bandwidth to actually focus on the content in the middle of the conversation. That simple social wrapper helps you deliver your more complex ideas with, well, more confidence.
That really crystallizes it for me. The foundation of communicating effectively, whether it's a new language or a complex project update, isn't always the fancy jargon. It's mastering these structural basics.
Hmm.
Sequence, efficiency, nuance, and those simple social connectors. So just to quickly recap the structural gems we pulled from this A2 material, we saw how sequencing words like then build narrative flow, how short phrases like busy day today offer amazing social efficiency, and how adverbs like usually inject that crucial realism and fluency.
And threaded through it all was that core advice, the bit that goes way beyond just language learning.
Hmm.
The best way to get better is consistency. Listen, repeat, and speak every day, and importantly, do it with confidence.
Improvement really does come from that structured routine, building block by building block, not just waiting for random flashes of insight.
Absolutely. The structural lesson is powerful. If these simple, repeated daily actions form the bedrock of our spoken routines, it leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. If you need to master something complex, maybe it's advanced math, a new programming language, a historical period, what are the simple core components, the high utility phrases or rules or actions within that skill that you could structure and repeat every single day? How could you build your own effective daily routine to achieve that complex mastery? Sometimes the path is just that well-sequenced daily practice.